Hey everyone, I'm Jen Mike 7 here, and I'm back with another video. And I'm here with my boy Jay King. Just letting you know, this is breaking news. Breaking news. Let me 1 second. I got some sound here. 1 second. There is another lawsuit. That's right. There is another lawsuit.
Yeah, but not the lawsuit that you would expect. It's not actor versus company. This time, it's family versus company. And no, we're not making a Vin Diesel joke here. We're being genuinely honest because the families of some important comic book creators that we all know are now trying to get many of the Marvel characters to them, which could be potentially catastrophic for the entirety of the Marvel
Panic.
universe going forward.
Panic. We're in
Panic
a
attack,
panic mode.
definitely.
Panic. Anyway, we're gonna show you. I'm gonna show you this. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, right? And let me guys know what you guys think in the comments in the pre-recorded video after this. I'm sharing my screen right now, so I'm gonna just show this article here. Listen, I am so tired of this. I'm really tired of this. Bob K-Check, you dick. Man, I'm telling you. Okay, all right, let's just go into this. All right, this report from the Hollywood Reporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to get to. Let me see if I can get full screen here. All right. So news: Marvel is suing to keep the rights to the Avengers characters from copyright termination. Right. This blockbuster lawsuit filed today will decide the future ownership of characters including Iron Man and Spider-Man, along with others. Right. So Disney
Right.
Marvel unit is suing to hold on to full control of the Avengers characters, including Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, Thor, and more. The complaints which the Hollywood Reporter has obtained come against the heirs of some late comic book geniuses, including Stan Lee himself, Steve Ditko, and Gene Colan, right? And the suits seek to the clarity relief that these blockbuster characters are ineligible of copyright termination and works made for hire. If Marvel loses, Disney will have to share ownership of characters that are worth billions. In August, the administrator of Ditko's estate filed a notice of termination on Spider-Man, which first appeared in comics back in 1962. All right. Under the termination provision of the copyright law, authors of their heirs can reclaim rights once granted to publishers after after waiting a statutory set period of time. According to termination notes, Marvel will have to give up Ditko's rights to the iconic character Spider-Man in June of 2023. And guess what? 2021 is almost over. That is almost a year. Yes, as soon as we have fought years of having the rights separated from Spider-Man back in 2016, finally coming back in Captain America Civil War. For years, as we've been waiting for the conclusion of Mutants and the X-Men and Fantastic Four, finally reclaiming the acquisition of Fox Studios, now having the rights to them, and still to this day have not been at least teased or mentioned, so we think so right now. And that came to the MCU as of yet in full throttle. We know we have a Fantastic Four movie announced that's going to be directed by the director of the new Spider-Man film, John Watts of Spider-Man No Way Home, but we're still waiting for the X-Men to come along. But after all this, finally, we got all characters under one under one umbrella. You know, even sharing partnership with Sony. But now, you know, people want to have their cake and eat it too. I don't understand what, like. One, I think this is a big middle finger to the states of the family, right? I think that this is also a you know, like I said, it's not showbiz and show friends is show business, right? But I just think that continuously, that recently after the lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson, that this is seeing a continuous thread that I feel that Marvel or Disney, I say Disney, not really Marvel, should really be very close attention in terms of how much power they truly have, because the states, you know, obviously have rights to characters as well. But I think that I'm not going to try to overreact with this, but I'm going to ask J King what your thoughts about this overall issue. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts about this.
Okay, well, overall thoughts. As you know, I sent you this news earlier today when I first found out about it. I have been reading a bunch of articles as well as looking at a bunch of other videos, kind of helping me fully understand exactly what's going on. And so the basics of what is going on is that the families of Lee and Ditko and all of them, now that it's been like a certain time, because apparently there's this thing where if you're like a creator and you created something, even if it's in a company, after like a certain point of time, you or if you're deceased, your heirs will claim rights to that. And so, of course, Ditko, Lee, and all of them have like passed away at this point. And the families, they want to basically own the rights to these characters, in which these two, along with many of the others that have passed at this point, created basically all these characters. This takes away the rights to Spider-Man, Iron Man, Falcon, basically all the Avengers, like a majority of the characters that we have so far within the MCU, at least. That's who this is taking away. And my stance on this is a little mixed because number one, I understand, the families want to be able to hold that part of their, loved one's legacy with them. If they created something so big and so powerful, they want to keep that legacy, you know, part of theirs, since again, it is technically part of their family. Well, on the other hand, this whole lawsuit could go many ways. Yes, it is Disney being dicks again, just like how they were with Johansson and just how like have they done with many other things. But the I think there's many ways this can go. This could go a good way, this could go a bad way. If the families get it back, that's good. But that potentially could also mean, oh, are we not going to have anything else? I see it as only going a few ways. The first, if Disney wins, then it's just not going to be talked about again, and the Marvel universe and everything like that's going to continue. The second
Right.
thing, if the families win, yes, they get the rights, and most likely Marvel Studios after that will just have to be like, okay, we want to continue making the movies. How much royalty do you guys want every single time we make a movie with your characters in it? And plus, also with that, that would also take Spider-Man out of Sony's hands, so that would technically kind of make things more connected than how they are now, which would be a good thing. Though it could go the other route where they would want to hold on to these characters. Who knows what they want to do with them? And so that's where some people are scared. It's like, are we not going to get anything else? But then there's also the fourth thing. If this lawsuit goes on long, which it could go on long, while this is happening, it usually happens to where nothing new can kind of happen at that point in time, meaning that within that, from like what was it, like June of 2023 to like however long it potentially could go, we can't get anything new in terms of those characters, which is basically in terms of the MCU, and not just within the MCU, also within the comic books and the video games and etc. Because again, these characters have transcended
And
through
listen,
all of pop culture.
recent Spider-Man 2 supposed to come out in 2023. Yes.
Right? That might not
Bam.
happen because of that.
Yes.
That might not happen. That
Scat,
might
yeah.
not happen. If again this lawsuit goes further, again, there's like four options here. I am on the hopeful side that if the families do win, they can negotiate and we won't have to deal with it no more. It'll just make things a lot more interconnected, and that they'll just get royalties whenever a movie or a video game or a new comic or whatever comes out. And hopefully it's not the latter of either Disney wins and it's just never talked about, because then it's going to make them look even worse on their own part, more than they already do, or that the families hold on to them, or that, again, there could be a large gap within this whole lawsuit where we have like maybe another year without anything Marvel like at all. Like we had last year in entirety without the MCU, it could literally be a year without anything Marvel, not just MCU. There could be no comic books published at that time. There could be no new video games that will be coming out. We got the Wolverine game and the Spider-Man 2. That might not happen. Any new DLCs for Avengers might not happen. The Guardians game, if there were any new things to come with that, that might not happen. Again, this affects all of it, and that's where a general amount of people are scared of when it comes to this.
Right. And I think that just to kind of clarify what the context of what this might mean in terms of lawsuit, like it's saying that as you create an IP, intellectual property, in terms of wherever you might create something in a company, well, that can be in a way that that company now owns it because you now created it. My estate think that if you paid for it, then it's yours, right? So I don't think
Mhm.
that anything that obviously Stan Lee and Steve Ditko were recompensated throughout their career. Obviously not, probably can say arguably they should compensated more, but I think that's what's happening right now. Like for example, let's say I'm selling you some of my Air Force Ones, right? I'm selling it to you, but then let's say I have a clause where saying, guess what? Maybe like 10 years, I want those shoes back, regardless if they can fit me anymore. I like those shoes and I want those shoes back, but you paid me full price for it. You think that's fair?
Nope.
Exactly. Right. You know, yeah, exactly. So I just think I think that consistently, well, I'm thinking that the logic of this thing, I think the end result, I think is more shock value from this, that folks kind of going worst case scenario, because this is the same thing that happened with the Predator years ago when
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, when they when
Not just the Predator, but also if I believe Friday the 13th as
they
well. That franchise as well
sued, yeah.
basically went through a similar thing, and there were no new things for like
Mhm.
6, 7 years.
Right. So yeah, and I mean for years Friday the 13th having got nothing. Um now but with that is like what is it consistently what they're going to be doing with in terms of if the worst case scenario does happen, it's like taking Spider-Man into different IPs. For example, we could potentially get an Invincible and Spider-Man like crossover if this goes through. It's like, what, this show's a hit show on Amazon, and we want to take Spider-Man to a different direction. Let's go just animate it and let's have that happen, which they could, you know. But I mean,
They
obviously,
could.
right? Which I mean, and you can go worst case scenario, like hey, let's go to Universal, let's go to like right, exactly. Whoever the
No,
paper
no,
knows the
no.
highest bidder, you know. Hey, Discovery, you've got that new streaming service. Somehow, hey, you got Peacock. Hey, let me just send you over there. Like I don't know. I just think that this kind of be worst case scenario speaking right here, but I don't think that really we have nothing to worry about. But I'm just saying, just in terms of this is messy. This is really messy, nasty. But I want to talk more out of a grander, instead of like a micro sense about this specific lawsuit. I want to kind of transition to like a macro sense of like just Disney, how they've been operating as a company recently. With this is the second lawsuit they had in less than almost 2 or 3 months. Um,
Hmm.
all right, and going through it within their own corporation, not anything of like license, they're not having any infringement on any type of character or anything like that. No, with their own employees, with their own corporation, their own IP, they're having lawsuits within there. And I think this is just messy, is showing the malpractice of the current CEO of Disney after the Bob Iger been transitioned off. That the current one, Bob Chapek, I think he's been poorly managing this company that obviously that has been referred to as monopoly after the acquisition of Fox and everything like that. I think that Bob
Hmm.
Chapek is that not only that operation this Disney Avenger campuses parks, everything that's been going on. I just think that they're kind of running into the ground, and this is over a consistent basis where I'm getting frustrated on his inability to actually execute, not only in terms of in terms of solutions or fixing problems as just any CEO, but also having a level of moral character. I feel in terms of having how you can operate as a company.
Hmm.
That's just thing because like there would have been complete synergy with Bob Iger, yes, and with Kevin Feige and everything. Even with their employees, yes, they had a little feud with the whole ABC television with the rights with I forgot what that dude that because he was handcuffed with terms of television, and now Kevin Feige now has full rights to television as he's doing with Disney Plus. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, but now like the complete synergy. Yes, they had a situation with James Gunn, also like that stuff, but then they resolved it. So just like even then, I'm not saying that conflict can't happen, but being resolved in the most appropriate, but I think mature way. And I think that going after the state of these families, I think that to me is complete disrespect. And I think what I think they're going to do is that what, obviously we don't want to damage the IP. Obviously, you want Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all the characters. Disney, obviously, yeah, Shang-Chi come out, and obviously, like consistently, you've seen that there's a continuing rise even after like trying to transition into a post-pandemic world. That these characters are still being viable and have essence of bringing profit not only to to the company, but also just in terms of any many brands that they can create. But I think if damaging it from taking it away, they're just like, you know what, we know who we are. We have Spider-Man, so now's the time for Disney to remember who we are, right? So it's like you
Mm,
guys. Now, your two biggest anchors, you got Lucasfilm, you got Marvel. Even though Marvel right now is the one that's killing it, so now just like, you know what, you better treat us like we got some respect, and I don't blame them. So I think that's going to happen here. I think they're going to actually uh that the will get resolved. However, they're gonna say, hey, we're gonna get some standard royalties, be like 7.5% of movie profits every time you have this character. Just like the same thing you're doing with Sony with distribution rights and all that stuff. Guess what? We want to increase our pay. Now these characters are more valuable now than they were 10 years ago. So I think they're in every right to do so. Now the only thing is I had a question about how this was gonna affect Sony if this goes route. Because I don't think Sony will be affected at all because the fact of, at least my opinion, because they're only having acquisition of the license of the
mhm.
of the distribution of the character, right? So I think
Right.
that they can still take it, but they're still under Sony and say like, okay, now we own this character and stuff. Now we can just take it somewhere else, or we can just keep it back as Sony and continue this whole Venom verse, which we'll know little like in, was it next week? Yeah, next week.
Yeah, in a
Yeah,
week, in a week.
yeah, next week from today, we'll find out what's going on. Seeing this continuation of what they're going to be doing as Sony as a company. So, with the Spider-Man characters offset of MCU, that potentially will be merging. So yeah. So I think that I don't know anything else left to be said here because I'm reading more of the article here, and it just like more of it to me is kind of going to the explanation of they're saying like DC saved off a termination about a counterclaim against Toberoff and asserting torture interference of his rights. The publisher was represented by this is a situation that happened with Superman many years ago with
Right.
right the character, right? And they're saying that they have to be representing Disney now the effort to keep rights of the various Avengers characters. Um, but yeah, this is they're saying is filing Petrosili, I think, is filing several lawsuits in New York, California against Liberty, Don Heck, Patrick Ditko, Don Rico, and Keith D. Weiler. Then the families of Stan Lee and the others. The case will focus on the creation of the famous comic book characters who should be deemed uh, statutory to the authors. Yeah, I think just kind of to go more into this. Um, yeah, at the basic you kind of cover everything. But yeah, man, I just think this is messy, and I hope that this goes well. But other than that, man, I think that's pretty much it. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I hope you give me comments down what you think about below. And guys, and J King, where can people find you?
All right. Well, before I say that, I'll give one last thought as to how I feel about this
Oh,
whole thing. It's like, uh, yeah, just quick thoughts about it. At the end of the day, my opinion, these families just want to make sure that the legacy of their deceased loved ones stays intact. I'm hoping that, again, it does not result in any, we want to hold on to these characters, but I'm pretty sure they realize at this point that these characters have basically become a lot more than how they were when they were created back in the 60s and the 70s and all that. They have transcended to basically a part of modern history that taking them away from the people that have enjoyed them for years and the people that will come to enjoy them years later into the future is definitely a stupid move. And so, again, my hope is that this whole thing does not take long. I feel that because Disney has a lot of money, they may potentially find some good lawyers, but I think at the end of the day, these families do definitely deserve to have the rights in a way of these characters back to them, since of course their families created them. As long as there's a royalty and they're okay with stuff continuing in the comics and in the movies and in the video games and TV shows and etc., then we'll all be good. It'll actually maybe make things a bit better and there'll be peace. Let's just hope that everyone plays their cards right. All right, they're playing a deadly game here. All right, they need to not play checkers and play chess for a good minute in order to figure out
mhm.
exactly what needs to be done. So yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, where can people find you?
okay, mainly what is it? Mainly IG, J King _ZIO. That's it.
Yeah. And you guys, you can find me. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share. You can also find me on Instagram at JediMike7. I'll be doing like more content coming more about this story and other things coming up soon because I'm actually talking to you, J King, about this first time. That I think that at best probably I want to try to do like a full season overview of What If and stuff at the end. I want to wait till because the thing about this is just like doing like reaction to 18 or 4 like minute episode stuff. Like I might try to do a reaction to the finale and then do overall of the season, compartmentalize of ranking which ones are tier. Um, but yeah, because we want to get more into the story, and even then, also if you want to try to do a review, because I know Venom coming up next week, and I'll be seeing that. So if you want to try to do a review about Together or something like that, yeah, just let me know or something like that. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning into this live stream or tuning into the pre-record video and everything. But till next time, my name is Jedi Mike. See you guys next time. Bye bye.